Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and the translation of that message reads like this: Hello, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My name is Taswa, not his real name, and I am 43 years old, currently living in my own country. On the outside, people just think that I am just another hustler. Like, what I do is that I do small-scale gold mining, gold dealing, gold buying, and gold selling as well. And I sponsor those that are into the illegal digging up of the gold in our country. That is how I have been able to make such a living in my country, and I really enjoy the life that I am living. It is more like a soft life. To the outside world, some people just think that this one is just a hustler. I have my cars as well as my shops, and I am also into real estate, because as the money was flowing in, I then invested, bought a lot of properties. So I then built those houses such that I am now renting out those houses. I do have businesses, and people, they do envy me, especially from the village where I come from, because we used to be very poor when we were still very young. And to tell you the truth, I do have a lot of enemies as well. But what people do not know is that I have sacrificed 10 of my own blood relatives, and now sometimes I do fear, because I do not know when are these topologies going to come demanding for my own blood, because I was told that it will come a time that God is going to say it is enough. Yes, this was what a Sangoma told me, that one day God is going to say that enough is enough. You have sacrificed enough of your relatives, and he is going to demand my own blood. And those topologies that used to work for me at my mines and protect me whenever I am moving around with gold and huge sums of cash, they will demand and attack me. It all began, it was in 2007, during the diamond rush at Taswa. Back then, I was a struggling young man trying to make ends meet as a street vendor. Life was very harsh. I grew up in poverty, and every day felt like a battle for survival. My parents had passed away when I was a teenager, leaving me to fend for myself and my younger siblings. I had big dreams, but no matter how hard I worked, I could not seem to escape poverty. When I heard about Taswa, I thought that it was my chance. People were saying that anyone who went there and found diamonds could change their life overnight. I did not think twice. I left everything behind and traveled there, full of hope and full of determination that this was my final opportunity. But when I arrived, I realized that it was not as simple as just digging for diamonds. The place was chaotic, full of people, law enforcement, and stories of violence and death. The competition was fierce, and I quickly learned that many of the people who left Taswa with wealth had done something beyond just digging. Yes, there were those that were lucky enough, but there were others that would go to different sangomas so that they can be able to be given some good luck, and they had made deals with the devil, and that is what I was looking for as well. I had heard stories about people performing rituals to unlock their fortunes. At first, I did not want to believe this, because I was someone that was suffering already. I did not have the money to waste on going to a sangoma and paying some consultation fees. The more that I struggled to find the diamonds, the more that I began to fantasize about going to these sangomas, the more that I began to believe them. One day, whilst we were working in our syndicate, there was this other man who was an older man. So he knew my desperation without me saying a word to him. He told me about a sangoma who was in the area for a brief short period of time who could help me. He said that this sangoma had helped so many people who would come to Taswa, work for about a month, and will get rich beyond their wildest dreams. I hesitated, but the man kept on telling me. That night, as I lay hungry and hopeless in the bushes, I decided to go. The Sangoma's hut was deep in the bush. It was just a makeshift place, and at that place, that was when I met a lot of men. Some of them that I met were soldiers as well as police officers, those that wanted to return back to Harare with their diamonds, so they were scared that they might get arrested along the way. This man was claiming that once I give you these charms, it will be like you are someone that is invisible when you get to come across a roadblock. If you want wealth, you are going to enjoy this wealth. I asked him what the price was, and he told me straightforward that any mineral that is deep beneath the earth, it will always require blood. That is why he said sometimes even the big mines, all of a sudden there is an accident. He said that it might be owned by a white man, but those will be some sort of rituals that will be happening, for the earth will never give out its own resources without blood being shed. It's either the country will be ravaged by war or you have to sacrifice someone. So he told me that I needed to offer the blood of my closest relatives. I thought that this man was joking, but at the same time, he then told me that since I was someone that was suffering, he was not going to make me pay a lot of money as he was making other people to pay. He said, my son, when you are done, you will just give me such a percentage, and then you will go your way and I will go my own way. So I accepted. I did not want to remain poor, since he told me, he gave me that prophecy that I was bound to become poor for the rest of my life. And throughout the night, I felt conflicted because I still believed just a little bit in God. But he said, since you believed in this white man's God, why is it he has never responded to your prayers? When your relatives knew that you were suffering, why is it that they never gave you something to better your life? And God, why is it that he never assisted you? He was always quiet. A week later, I returned back to the Sangoma. That was when I told him that I had chose my cousin, who was like a brother to me. We had grown up together, shared everything. The ritual was held at night. So the Sangoma, he had told me that in the afternoon, I had to go and look for a grave. I walked and I walked. There were villages that were nearby the place where we were digging up for the diamonds, and I scouted for a grave. This seemed to be an old grave. I don't know what had happened to the family. It seemed as if the house was an abandoned house, and that is the place where I had chosen to dig up one of the graves, and so I did. When everyone was fast asleep, I approached that grave that I had seen in the afternoon and chosen, and I started digging and digging until I had reached the place where the person was buried. I don't know if it was a man or if it was a woman. The person was totally decayed. It was just bones that were left over. And then I removed the skull of that person that were buried there. I walked back. I walked throughout the night whilst I had that human skull in my school bag. I walked through the dense forest alone. I was scared of snakes, I was scared of everything. But I told myself that I needed to do this so that I can enjoy my own life. When I arrived there, the Sangoma as well, he had slaughtered a bull, and I was lucky because he had kept some blood for me. He said, I knew that poverty is going to return. That is what he used to call me. He'll be like Murombo, Murombo, meaning one who is very poor. I knew that. He said, you'll never be able to afford to buy a bull so that we can use the blood of that bull. That is why I have kept this. Where is that human skull? I showed him, and after that, that was when he said, I want you to pour this blood inside that skull. I poured the blood. As it started spilling over, he said, drink up, drink up, drink up the blood. So I drank. As I was drinking, he then started speaking with his own ancestors, some things that I did not even understand. Then the next morning, he told me to go and work. I worked and I worked until about a week later. That was when I got the diamond. I was more than excited. With the money that I got from the diamond, I specifically sold this to these other white people that used to come and buy the diamonds from the people that would have picked up the diamonds. Then I started this thing of gold buying and selling as well. At first, everything was just falling into place. Over the years, I have sacrificed 9 of my relatives and each and every time I used to think that it will be the last. Now the person that helped me with these rituals, he is getting older and older, and each and every time I have to go back to his place so that I can keep on renewing these things. I am scared, like the day that this man is going to die, what is going to become of me? For I cannot go to church. The moment that I go to church, everything will burn to the ground. This is my own story. I have been told by this Sangoma that one day God is going to say that enough is enough. But here I am, still willing to sacrifice one more amongst my relatives, if it means that that is the only way that I can live for much longer, as well as enjoying the money. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother, and that was the translation of the message that he sent to me. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world.